Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Ivan Jue. I teach international business at Cerritos College. So, today we'll examine one of the world's most successful business groups, the Tata Group of India. This case helps us understand three important concepts: why conglomerates exist, how institutional voids shape business strategy in emerging markets, and why Tata's acquisition strategy differs from many Western companies. So that by the end of this discussion, you'll understand why Tata has succeeded both in India and internationally. The Tata Group demonstrates that business groups can create significant value in emerging economies. Many of the advantages that Tata enjoys come from its ability to overcome what scholars call institutional voids. The case also highlights Tata's unique approach to acquisitions. Unlike many acquirers that immediately replace management teams, Tata often preserves local leadership and culture. So the key question here is, why would a company intentionally give up some control after spending billions to acquire another company? There are four key learning objectives. First is to evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of conglomerates. Number two is understand the institutional voids. Number three is analyze Tata's acquisition strategy. And number four, apply emerging market business concepts to real-world situations. These concepts are important because many successful companies from India, South Korea, and Latin America operate as business groups. So Tata was founded in 1868 and has become one of India's largest and most respected business organizations. Today, Tata operates in steel, automobiles, information technology, hotels, telecommunications, and consumer products. The group contains more than 100 operating companies. What's remarkable is that Tata has maintained a strong ethical reputation while expanding globally. Tata expanded globally through major acquisitions, including Tetley Tea, Corus Steel, Jaguar Land Rover, Daewoo Commercial Vehicles. Rather than simply buying market share, Tata often acquired companies to gain technology, brands, global distribution, managerial expertise. These acquisitions transformed Tata from an Indian company into a global business group. A conglomerate owns businesses in multiple industries. The major benefits include diversification. This is where poor performance in one industry can be offset by success in another. Shared reputation. The Tata brand strengthens trust across all subsidiaries. Internal capital markets. This is where profitable divisions can help finance growing divisions. Knowledge transfer. Managers and expertise can move across businesses. As an example, if the steel business experiences a downturn, IT services or consumer products may continue to perform well to offset it. And the benefits continue. The next one would be risk reduction, so less dependence on one industry. Internal capital allocation. Funds can be moved where opportunities are greatest. Talent development. Managers gain experience across industries. Brand leverage. The Tata name creates credibility. Economies of scope and scale. Shared resources lower costs. So the point is that in emerging markets, these advantages can be seen even to be more valuable because external institutions may be weak. However, conglomerates also face challenges. Management complexity. Running dozens of businesses is very difficult. Inefficiency. Strong businesses may subsidize weak ones. Agency problems. Managers may pursue growth rather than profitability. conglomerate discount. Investors often value diversified firms less than the sum of their parts. Strategic focus. Leadership attention becomes spread across many industries. So the question for you is, would you rather invest in a focused company or a diversified conglomerate? So this is perhaps the most important concept in this case. So institutional voids. These are gaps in market supporting institutions. So examples include weak banking systems, weak legal systems, limited labor markets, lack of reliable information. In developed economies, firms can rely on external institutions. However, in many emerging economies, those institutions may be incomplete. So the key idea here is that when institutions are weak, large business groups often fill the gap. Tata helps overcome institutional voids by creating internal substitutes. Internal financing. This helps Tata immensely, so it doesn't have to rely on weak capital markets. Reputation. The Tata brand creates trust. Legal expertise. This is shared across group companies. Talent development. Managers are trained internally. So the point here is that Tata effectively creates its own mini economy inside the group. This explains the institutional voids framework, which helps show why conglomerates like the Tata Group are often successful in emerging markets such as India. So what are institutional voids? Institutional voids are gaps or weaknesses in the institutions that support business activities. In developed countries such as the United States, companies can rely on banks and capital markets for financing, universities and recruiting firms for talent, credit agencies and analysts for information, strong courts and legal systems for contract enforcement. In many emerging markets, however, these institutions may be weaker, less reliable, or less developed. The capital market void and how that leads to internal financing. So here's a problem in emerging markets. Companies may struggle to obtain financing because banks are reluctant to lend. Stock markets are underdeveloped. Venture capital is limited. So Tata's solution is the Tata Group can move money internally between subsidiaries. As an example, Tata Consultancy Services, or TCS, generates strong cash flow. The group can use those funds to support investments in Tata Motors or another growing business. This reduces dependence on external lenders. The talent market void and how that leads to internal development. So another problem in emerging markets is there may be shortages of skilled managers, engineers, and professional training programs. So Tata's solution is for the group to develop talent internally. So as an example, Tata has leadership development programs. Managers can rotate among different Tata companies. Employees gain experience across industries. So instead of hiring externally, Tata builds its own talent pipeline. Information void and how that leads to group reputation. So yet another problem with emerging economies is reliable information may be difficult to obtain. Financial disclosures may be weak. Credit ratings may be unreliable. Investors may not know which firms to trust. So Tata's solution is the Tata brand itself becomes a signal of quality. As an example, when customers, suppliers, or investors see the Tata name, they often assume ethical management, financial stability, product quality. The group's reputation reduces uncertainty. The legal void and how that leads to internal governance. So another problem is legal systems may be slow, expensive, and unpredictable. Contract enforcement may be difficult. So Tata's solution is the group relies on internal governance and relationships. As an example, instead of relying solely on courts, Tata companies can follow common group policies, use internal oversight mechanisms, resolve issues within the business group. This lowers transaction costs and legal risk. So why does this matter? This framework explains why conglomerates are often more successful in emerging markets than in developed markets. In developed markets, external institutions already provide financing, talent, information, legal protection. So therefore, large conglomerates often lose their advantage. So let's discuss Tata's most unusual practice. After acquiring companies, Tata often retains management teams, preserves local brands, maintains local culture, focuses on partnership. This contrasts sharply with many Western acquisitions. So a key question is, why spend billions acquiring a company and then allow the existing managers to remain? Traditional acquirers often replace managers, cut costs aggressively, centralize decision making. Tata typically retains managers, operates within a long-term perspective, uses a decentralized structure. So the point here is that Tata buys capabilities, not just the assets. So there are several reasons for why Tata retains existing managers. Market knowledge. Local managers understand customers. Customer relationships. The relationships remain intact. Employee morale. Workers are less likely to leave. Reduced integration risk. There's going to be less disruption. Cultural respect. Local identities are preserved. As an example, Jaguar Land Rover continued operating largely as a British company after Tata acquired it. However, Tata's strategy is not risk-free. There are potential drawbacks, and these drawbacks include slower change, less control, incentive alignment challenges, and performance monitoring difficulties. So a key question here is, what happens if existing managers resist the necessary changes? So many analysts point to Jaguar Land Rover as evidence that Tata's strategy had worked. The benefits included brand preservation, management continuity, strong employee commitment, improved business performance. So this supports Tata's philosophy that acquisitions should create value through trust rather than control. So there's 4 major lessons from the Tata case. Lesson 1. Conglomerates can create value when institutions are weak. Lesson 2. Institutional voids help explain why business groups succeed in emerging markets. Lesson 3. Tata leverages reputation, diversification, and internal capital markets. And lesson 4. Successful acquisitions require balancing control with local expertise. The Tata case reminds us that strategies that work in developed markets are not always the best strategies in emerging markets. So here's a closing question. If you were CEO of Tata, would you continue using the conglomerate model, or would you break the company into separate, focused businesses? That question captures the central strategic debate surrounding the House of Tata. And so now we've come to the end of this mini lecture. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have found this useful. Please be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video. Goodbye for now.